Today, the case against the man who killed 10 people at a grocery store in Boulder is set to go to the jury.
Yeah, that's right. 9 News reporter Courtney Yoon joins us live from Boulder with the latest on this trial. Courtney, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Jordan and Anusha. The jury is being called in early today at 8 a.m. to get their jury instructions from the judge. That's expected to take about 90 minutes today, and then the court will move on to closing arguments. Now, the shooter has pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. Family members and psychiatrists testified that he did have mental health issues. The burden falls to prosecutors to prove the shooter did it and was not insane when he committed the crimes. Prosecutors have argued the shooter was able to determine right from wrong and therefore sane. Jurors will have to make a decision for each of the 55 charges against him, including 10 counts of murder, 15 counts of attempted murder, and other offenses. Here are their options. They can find him not guilty, meaning he didn't do it, or the state failed to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. Another option is not guilty by reason of insanity, meaning they concluded he did it, but the defense presented credible evidence that he was insane at the time, and prosecutors failed to prove otherwise. They can also find him guilty. If jurors find the shooter guilty, the judge only has one option: to sentence him to spend the rest of his life in prison without the possibility of parole. Each side of the court will get 2.5 hours for closing arguments today. Then the trial will be handed over to the jury. We'll be inside the courtroom when that happens. 9 News investigative reporter Kevin Vaughn will be there, and we'll bring you updates on air and online. Live in Boulder, Courtney Yoon, 9 News.
All right, thanks so much for that update. We appreciate it, Courtney.
It is now 6:04, and today the contractor accused of stealing $1.3 million from victims of the Marshall Fire is set to be arraigned. The Boulder County Sheriff's Office arrested Leona Scott in late June. They say that he had 4 separate contracts with 4 property owners who were rebuilding after losing their homes. Deputies say that he took their money and never finished the work that he promised. Investigators also say the 63-year-old was not properly licensed to build homes in Boulder County.
Right now, Edgewater is looking for a new police chief. Eric Stonsengard turned in his resignation last night. He started the job in May of 2022, but then during his short tenure, the city paid over $500,000 to settle a federal lawsuit brought by a former officer who had claimed sex-based discrimination and a hostile work environment. As a part of that settlement, the city did not admit any wrongdoing. Stonsengard is taking an assistant city manager job in Oxnard, California. His last day in Edgewater will be on December 6th. Edgewater will then launch a search for its next police chief at the beginning of next month.
Presidential hopefuls are working hard to get more support with 45 days left until the general election. Vice President Kamala Harris hit the campaign trail in the swing state of Michigan last night, holding an online rally with a host of celebrities, including Oprah Winfrey. The event had a live audience and a live stream with hundreds of people watching. Harris and Oprah discussed a wide range of topics from immigration to gun ownership.
I'm in favor of the Second Amendment, and I'm in favor of assault weapons bans, universal background checks, red flag laws. And these are just common sense.
Vice President Harris will be back on the road today, holding a rally in Madison, Wisconsin.
Yesterday, former President Donald Trump spoke at the Israeli-American Council's National Summit. That was in Washington, D.C. During his remarks, Trump talked about what he said he has done for this community and that the Jewish community would be partially to blame if he loses in November.
I wasn't treated properly by the voters who happen to be Jewish. If I don't win this election, and the Jewish people would really have a lot to do with that if that happens, because at 40%, that means 60% of the people are voting for the enemy.
Thank you very much.
Trump will hit the road again tomorrow for a rally in Wilmington, North Carolina.
And early voting is getting underway in 3 states today. Minnesota and Virginia are opening their polls. South Dakota allows absentee in-person early voting. And according to the Pew Research Center, about a quarter of voters cast ballots in person before Election Day in 2020.
Meanwhile, the former president's attorneys have now asked a judge for access to more information as they are preparing to mount his defense in the federal election interference case. The request came in a court filing late yesterday. Specifically, Trump's attorneys want to be given information about special counsel Jack Smith's team's views on presidential immunity. This comes after the Supreme Court ruled this summer that Trump does have limited presidential immunity. If the request is granted, it would expand Trump's defense team's access to federal agency records and also allow his team to review additional classified documents.
In California, multiple firefighters are seriously hurt after their vehicle crashed and flipped on a freeway in Orange County last night. Authorities say that the crash happened shortly before 8 p.m. our time. You can see wreckage and debris spread across the road. The vehicle swerved to avoid a ladder on the freeway. All 8 passengers in the vehicle were evacuated by helicopters, with half a dozen sustaining severe injuries and 2 sustaining moderate injuries. Officials say the crew involved in the wreck was finishing a shift fighting the airport fire.
Warm and dry today, but big changes for us this weekend. We've called a weather impact day for tomorrow night and Sunday morning. Here's the general overview: about a ½ inch to an inch of rain, very likely for us in the Denver area tomorrow night. Several inches of snow above 9,000 feet, and snow possible as low as the foothills. So Conifer, Bailey, Evergreen. My guess is 2 days from now, you're going to wake up to a little bit of slush for the first time this season.